Alright, Dr. Smith here. In this video we'll summarize some pointers with regards to, for especially more for maybe online students who want to get full access to all the resources available at the library with regards to this research project. By way of reminder, and while I've got you on the phone, I'll just show you, be checking your announcements frequently, just because I'm always giving you updates to information I'm making available to you. For example, the mini lecture and course content is posted now in course content with access to PowerPoint slides. So if you go over to the course content tab here, you have access to the PowerPoint, which is downloadable here, and then a video thumbnail that you click and watch. So it's a shorter mini lecture. In the content of both of these, with your reading, you can summarize in your theological journal that's due Friday at midnight or before midnight. I do want to make explain that what the pre-test and post-test is for all of our students, and that's not a graded assignment, but it's something that the School of Theology asks that we do to demonstrate evidence for our accreditation. So please go in and do the pre-test, and it's not, again, a graded assignment. Just do your best, and then at the end of the semester I'll give you an extra maybe 5 or 10 points extra credit towards the bottom line if you've completed both of those tests. And as you know, the theological journals on Friday will be submitted behind that tab there, and we're completing the one for Job. So you just click the view complete and fill out the forms and do a submit, and you just follow the instructions. It's pretty self-explanatory. But the thing that I really wanted to show you is get you going on the writing assignment, which is going to be broken into 5 smaller bite-sized chunks. So it's beginning with the Qep Learning Modules. Everything that you need to have access to is located behind that tab there. And when you open up, you'll have down here some documents that are available to you, but really the bread and butter is behind this, what we call the folder here. And everything here is behind Module 1, so you see the due dates for each folder has basically something that's due. So it's the logic of a module is if you open it up, there'll be some watch and learn videos, maybe 2 to 4, and they're all short and pretty concise and helpful. And then there'll be some downloadable documents that you can use as supplemental resources, and then finally a submission portal that you'll basically submit your whatever the assignment is that it asks for. So let's click into Module 1, which is coming due later in February. There's basic instructions here, and this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 videos to watch, and especially watch make sure you get to that part 2 video. It's really helpful, especially focusing in on how to narrow a topic and using specific resources in the library that you have access to, like Bible dictionaries, dictionaries of the Old Testament, where you've got like an article that's written on a particular topic, which in and of itself is a broad topic, and then you've got the built-in bibliography related to that topic that you can go do additional reading and find some that's all kind of the process that's helpful in helping you narrow a topic. The Old Testament has suggested and just given you kind of, if you need a little help with coming up with a topic, you can come up with a topic of your own, or there's a suggested list, just a list of some broad topics that are there. Biblical Studies recommended sources for doing research, and library resources as well. Those are PDF documents that you can grab and download to your desktop. Now there's some other things that you can use for research here. These are web resources for Old Testament study, and that's helpful for our project because we're writing on a topic out of the Old Testament, and they've given you some links there, and go ahead and take those out for a test drive. And then at the bottom there's an assignment journal that is where you're going to submit your suggested narrowed topic, and that's just going to be in sentence form submitted to that Blackboard journal. So now I'm on the seminary website, and what I want to do is show you some out-of-the-box resources or some procedures that you as online students can use to have access to some of the books in our library, as well as some of the full-text journal articles that are available through Atlas Religion database. So on the seminary website behind the Students portal, you have access to a lot of resources, but over here you're going to have the online library catalog, which I'd click. And when you get to the online library catalog, there's two, they're a little bit light here, but you can see search the library holdings as well as the knowledge portal. I'm going to show this first and then give you a process that you can use to get have books sent to you if you're outside of a what they call an hour drive away from campus radius from the seminary hill. So let's look here first, and I'm looking for books behind this search portal here. Here you have access to some, and you're used to doing this, I'm sure, if you've been around libraries at all. But you can type in subject, word, title of the book you're looking for, or author last name. So I'm going to type author last name, and then author first name, and I'm ready to do a search to find books written by a particular author who I'm interested in, and there they are. They come up here. Now any of these books that you find, you can find out how many copies are available at the Roberts Library, or if you're in Houston or closer to some of our other extension campuses with libraries. So let's say I find a book and I look at the details. This is the book that I'm interested in, and I have the information here. What I'm ready to do now is, if I found a book that I want, what I can do is, and to request a book to be sent to you if you're outside of that radius of about one hour of drive away from campus, you can email Annetta, and her email address is cthomas@swibits.edu, and I've got it right there for you. Just so press pause on this movie and you can write that down. But if you're within the hour, I think they prefer that you make a trip in at a convenient time and visit the library and do your research, maybe get it all done in a day, and then drive home, that kind of a thing. So that way you're on campus a little bit. So that's the way we roll around here. But that's a good resource for finding books. If you find books and instead of being here to grab them off the shelf, you can ask your friendly servant and helpful person, Annetta, and she can do that for you. Here's another way to get journal articles. So now I'm back to the library search portal, and I want to go to knowledge portal. Now I'm looking for, there's a lot of things here. I just want to show you one, knowledge portal, and if you go to Atlas Religion Index, so you can search for Atlas Religion Index. Let's say I want to search for journal articles written by that same author, or I can have a lot of different kinds of fields that I'm looking for, title, subject, things like that. But let's say I could do select a field optional or any field, but let's say I just want to search for an author. Again, it's author last name, author first name, and I can click search. And what's going to come up are references to certain journal articles and different ones. And if you scroll down, what you're going to start to see is a PDF icon. Maybe you already know this, but any of these that have the PDF icon, and there's quite a few that do, right out of the box, you can see if there's something that you see, immediately you have access to that. Let's say it's this one right here. You're interested in that particular aspect of coveting your neighbor's wife in the book of Deuteronomy. That's your topic, so that could be a narrowed topic. You could start with that and make that your narrowed topic, and from that go to this article, and then you have, I know this scholar does a fantastic job of annotating, I'm not annotating, but footnoting his thoughts with other scholars who are wrestling with the same topic. So let's just look and see. You can PDF click that link and open it up on your computer, and when you do, you can see you have full access to this this rather long 27-page article, and I'm just scrolling down through it. But look, here's the gold. Down here in the footnotes, read those footnotes, and you have access to other books and other articles that all relate to this topic of coveting your neighbor's wife. So that's something that I do oftentimes if I'm trying to dig, like you'd be digging for gold. Go down here to the footnotes and go see if there's some articles that you can access down here. And it may require you to dig a little bit if you visit the library, or if you do another search on the portal, you can find a book and request it to be sent to you if you're outside of that hour drive range. If you scroll over to the button here, you can download this article and save it to your desktop. So then you can print it off if you prefer reading it in paper. You know, you can make it bigger, more readable. So, you know, there's lots of things you can do from this particular resource. But it's a way to get at some of the best theologically based articles on Old Testament, New Testament, church history, and all those fields based on the searches that you do. So that's for free. And just so you know, if it's an item that that's not available in a paper copy that's available at Swibbits, you can do a library request for that particular item to be sent to you, interlibrary loan. So essentially what they'll do is email it to you if it's not available in our Southwestern Fort Worth campus library. So that's another resource as well you don't want to lose track of. So this is what we have available, and lots of things available in full PDF, as you can see. So what you do, again, you'll be working towards this for the first part of the Module 1. The assignment that you're working towards is basically just from doing some preliminary research and reading and watching those learning videos here, 1 through 4 there, and perhaps perusing some of these downloadable resources. You can narrow a topic very easily and submit the proposal for your narrowed topic. Now what's going to happen is the coach assigned to you will give you feedback on that, and if there's some things that he sees that can be improved, if there's a way to narrow your topic a little further, then he'll suggest that to you. But you'll get full points, full credit for getting this assignment submitted by the deadline, which is what? For this first module, it's February 7th. Everybody see that? If you get it in, you get full credit. You won't have points taken off, even if you get feedback or if the coach suggests a way to improve. It's all about improving. It's all about the learning process on this. So it's a really easy way to get points. Learn something along the way. A lot of us are getting into the game of research-based writing projects, or you might say thesis-driven writing projects. Instead of just reporting on or describing something, we're actually researching so that we can support an argument. Not an original argument, but maybe something that's already been done and maybe with a slightly different nuance. So that's the exciting thing about research. So this is what we're learning in Old Testament Survey 2. And as you find your sources, as you're researching, keep track of the bibliographic data information for the resources, because we're working towards Module 2, which is about finding good sources. So everything that you find, make sure you keep track of, because by the end of February we'll be submitting what's called an annotated bibliography, where you're asked to list 15 sources. That's what we're working towards. So 15 books and articles, not 15 of each, but 15 total, and you can see the way to get at those things. Another thing I'd recommend, if you're near a library in the community, if you're far away, you can also do that. Or if there's a big church in your area, perhaps you can ask the pastor of that church to perhaps borrow some of the commentaries that he might have in his collection, just temporarily, and copy the pages out of that commentary that relate to the text that you might be investigating. That's another resource for you who might be very, very distant with regards to the resources here. There's also, a lot of you might have access to electronic books and online books, full text books as well. That's becoming more in vogue these days. So if you have really an issue with this, just give me a holler, email, and I'll revisit it with you and steer you along. But I think you'll be just fine using some of the resources that we've talked about today. So that's where we're going with this, and we'll just keep moving through till the end of the semester. You'll have an edited draft submitted by April 11th. And again, in my class, because this is the capstone assignment, I just want to remind everybody, we will not have a final exam in our spring class. This is your capstone assignment, that and the theological journaling that you'll be doing every week along the way. Alright, so I hope this helps. I didn't want to make it too long, so that's all I'm going to say about this, and we'll keep moving ahead in our class. Glad to have you on board.